Keynesian economics is a school of thought in which government plays an important role in mitigating economic recessions. Its name is after British economist John Maynard Keynes, who advocated the need for government intervention during the Great Depression.
The first theory of Keynesian school is macroeconomic emphasis. Macroeconomics is a study on how aggregate demand behaves. According to John Maynard, macroeconomic emphasis focuses on total or aggregate amount of consumption, saving, income, output, and unemployment. They interested more on how firms spend in the economy compared to profit maximization level of a firm. In today's world, this macroeconomics element is used to measure a country's economic status. For example, unemployment rate and gross domestic product (GDP) is used to measure each country's economic level.
Keynesian economics is considered a demand-side theory that focuses on changes in the economy over the short run. Keynes advocates for increased government expenditure and lower tax to stimulate demand and pull the global economy out of the depression. Keynes used to argue that government spending was a critical factor driving aggregate demand. That means an increase in spending will increase demand. But what is demand and what is aggregate demand? Now, demand is something that you really ain't able to pay. Demand can be measured with the help of expenditure that done by us, and this similar to country's demand. It can be measured with the help of expenditure done by the country, which included all the residents of the country. Let's think of this, that expenditure that we spend is equal to revenue for the entrepreneur. Hence, the expenditure that we spend and the revenue that the entrepreneur gains are one and the same. The revenue that the entrepreneur earns is the same.
Be employed. Thus, their income will lead to a rise in the demand of a consumption good. This will eventually lead to a multiplier or a cumulative rise in the total national income of the community, making it possibly to the increased savings to flow. In this case, we can see that the savings and investment are actually depend on the income itself.
According to Keynes, the price and wages are not flexible as the classical theory asset. Wages tend to be rigid on the downside because workers will not accept wages that did not permit them to live adequately. This is reinforced by the action of the unions. If wages are too low, the unemployment will exist. In the case of prices, firms producing large stack of items prefer to cut production and lay off workers than cut prices. Their monopoly power permit them to act that way. Since the mid-1980s, there have been several instances where employees have accepted wage give back. For instance, in the airline and steel industries. Aside from this exception, wage decreases are extremely rare. The general pattern is one of continuous increase, at least to match cost of living increases.
So now, I'm gonna share John Maynard Keynes' theories on active fiscal and monetary policy. Fiscal policy is when our government uses its spending and taxing powers to have an impact on the economy. The combination and interaction of government expenditures and revenue collection is a delicate balance that requires good timing and a little bit of luck to get it right. The direct and indirect effects of fiscal policy can influence personal spending, capital expenditure, exchange rate, deficit levels, and even interest rate, which are usually associated with monetary policy. Meanwhile, Keynes believed in an indirect link between the money supply and real GDP. He believed that expansionary monetary policy increases the supply of loanable funds available through the banking system, causing interest rate to fall. With lower interest rate, aggregate expenditures on investment and interest-sensitive consumption goods usually increase, causing real GDP to rise. Hence, monetary policy can affect real GDP indirectly.